very good morning to you out there. This is 32 FM 94.9. It's the 4th of May 2023. The Break of Dawn People Review. My name is Kenny Durutilu.
Adenike, Ademuwagun, good morning to you. We hope that you're having a fantastic morning, and we kickstart with the front pages: The Punch, The Guardian, The Vanguard, The Daily Post. We start with The Punch this morning. Our first story here says external debt, federal government deduct 78 billion naira from state allocations. Controversial Ademuwagun detained, insist Binani won polls. And some more stories from the Punch newspaper this morning. Sudan, 376 stranded Nigerians airlifted from Egypt. Federal government disconnects discos from national grid over debt. Strike. Resident doctor says federal government's threat annoying. To the major story, 26 days to go. Outrage as Senate approves Buhari's 22.7 trillion extra budgetary spending. There's a rider to that, or riders. Fresh borrowing from CBN illegal, suspicious, says NECA. LCCI economist, 22.7 trillion naira extra budgetary spending to raise public debts to 69 trillion naira. Agenda 2050, federal government projects $33,000 per capita GDP. APC and WC fails to zone National Assembly leadership seats. To the red corner, police arrest or shoot twins for cultism. And finally, on the Punch this morning, Senate proposes life jail for unlawful explosive makers.
All right, over to the Daily Trust newspaper. Sudan crisis. Nigerian evacuees finally arrive in Abuja. Major story there. Elsewhere, you find this one. Ways and Means. Senate okays Buhari's 22.7 trillion naira loan request. Hajj 2023. Max Air to airlift Kano pilgrims. We want to make senior citizens comfortable. Relevant. DG Senior Citizen Center. Speakership. Opposition intensifies plots to upstage APC. Elsewhere from the Daily Trust, you find this other ones. Sudan crisis, already took that one. Lawmakers disagree over impeachment of Abia Speaker. In sports, Morocco dent Golden Eaglets AFCON title hopes. Also another one, National Assembly raises judicial officers' retirement age to 70 years. Abuja International Marathon sets new records. Some of the headlines out of the Daily Trust newspaper.
The Vanguard newspaper, tension as articulated vehicle crushes Kaduna girl to death. Rep-elect denies attacking activist, warn against blackmail. Some more stories. Nasarawa, obtain your degree in 10 years or be sacked, Assembly tells judges. May 29, let's support Tinubu's government. Election is over, SDP's Adebayo. Ronke Oshodi opens up on how her daughter's classmates poisoned her. Federal government boasts of overcoming challenges in passport production. And some more stories here. Says if you're a man dressed like one, this is from the entertainment corner. Blackface reacts to new trend. Ireti Doyle celebrates 56th birthday on set with colleagues. And some more stories. Court warns parties against truncating proceedings in Nnamdi Kanu's suit. Effective implementation of Criminal Justice Act remains top priority of federal government. Malami. EFCC, ICPC pray court to dismiss Keyamo's suit seeking Atiku's probe. And let's move to the sports corner. Haaland sets Premier League goal record to put Man City back on top. Lagos government shuts another popular grocery store over expired products. Gbajabiamila Faleke battle over chief of staff speakership positions. And we'll take a couple more stories while we move to another one. Sudan crisis, federal government's evacuation plans disrupted as more Nigerians join flight. And finally, I went through gruesome campaign to win presidential poll. Tinubu.
All right, more stories here from the Nation newspaper. I won't marginalize any part of Nigeria, Tinubu pledges. Elsewhere, Sudan, 2 aircraft flight back 376 Nigerians. 2 aircraft flight back 376 Nigerians. Elsewhere from the Nation, 40% of savings in Nigerian banks now in US dollars, says IMF. Zoning of National Assembly top post, APC targets consensus. Katsina OK's 800-hectare industrial park bond with solar farm construction firm. Elsewhere, Katsina civil servants Lord Masferi's public service sector reforms. Katsina government again demands urgent evacuation of students in crisis-torn Sudan. Second term, Lagos raises panel of 22 on the international front. Russia-Ukraine war escalation likely. Labour disrupts Owerri-bound flights in Lagos, Abuja. Others.
And moving to the Daily Post, President-elect Tinubu urged to pay extra attention to rural electricity. And some more stories on the Daily Post. Here says Kano EFCC secure forfeiture of 324 properties bought with pension fund. Cancer Center, we have taken bold steps. Ugwai hails Enugu government, NSI collaboration. Osun PDP-elect Sunday BC substantive chairman. And some more stories here says I only bought 2 human legs at 20,000 naira. I'm not a murderer, suspected Ogun ritualist. Federal road project, FEC approved 16.7 billion naira refund for Borno government. And this one says we have begun moves to integrate blockchain into national economy. Bantami. And this one also says Anambra mob burns suspected kidnapper alive, rescues victim. Let's move to the sports corner for a BTPL. United goalkeeper ruled out for rest of season. Under 17 AFCON, wasteful golden eaglets fall to Morocco. And Ebonyi Assembly approves 1.6 billion naira for Umai as exit package. Gunmen kill teenager, raid homes with POS in Bayelsa. And finally, from the Daily Post newspaper, it's bridge building. Tinubu speaks on visits to rivers.
Over to the Guardian newspaper. Stakeholders canvass improved brachytherapy treatment to check cancer. Okay, that's one of the headlines from the Guardian. Elsewhere, you see this one: Delta SDP dumps baggy for Oborevori. Elsewhere, firm donates steam laboratories to Edo. Delta scores. Abia Speaker Deputy lay claim to positions despite impeachment removal. Traders, residents lament poor state of Olodi Apapa Road. Some of the headlines from the Daily Trust. Some more here. Jusun embarks on indefinite strike. Disrupts tribunal inauguration in Cross Rivers. Olukoya urges Christians to embrace culture of Thanksgiving. Kogi PDP unveils Malai as gubernatorial candidate. Federal government delivers 300 housing units, others to Bono IDPs. IMSU suspends lecturer for assaulting pregnant students. Some major headlines from the Guardian.
All right, and we move to the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Our first story here says Aviation unions shall further strikes await May 9 meeting with principal actors. And some more stories says FAN pledges to restructure avian cargo business in Nigeria. And some more stories. This one says relocating aviation workers to Abuja is of no benefit. Passengers expect electric buses to crash Lagos transport fare. Some more stories is MWUN selfish for calling for increment of port charges. I think that's an editorial right there. And some more stories. Anambra Library Board, NLA, donate books, writing materials to inmates in Oka. And Buhari sacks Giadom after 14 months, appoints Zabi as IPREP coordinator. Don asks EFCC to engage forensic accountants in investigation. Free university education unrealistic in Nigeria, former Uniosun VC. Koasu, president decries poor funding, rise of illegal COEs in Nigeria. Vocational technical education should be better positioned in Nigeria, Provost. And we take a couple more stories while we go on commercial break. 2023 UTME gains pains of innovative measures to tackle exam malpractice. We go on that break. When we return, we come back with the analysis. Stay with us on the show.
FM 94.9.
For this Naija wey we dey so, say you no hold cash no mean say wahala dey o. You wan send money to Male for Villa. Just use Momo. You wan buy recharge card or data plus jollificate 15% bonus when you recharge? Just use Momo. You wan pay for market where you buy? Just use Momo. You fit use Momo run plenty things without cash. As long as you get Momo account, no cash, no wahala. And e dey easy to open o. Just dial *671# to open Momo account o. Set your PIN, transfer money from your bank account or inside your Momo account to fiam make you fit dey pay for anything. Send and receive money sharp because life dey simple with Momo. You go jollificate 15% bonus anytime you recharge with Momo.
Ìfẹ́ tí kò lábàwọ́n ni ìfẹ́ ìyá jẹ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí ohun tó dùn tó bíi Indomie alájẹpọnu lákọlọ. Nítorí náà, fi ìfẹ́ hàn pẹ̀lú Indomie.
Techno celebrates your natural healthy glow without hiding your imperfections with a 32MP glowing selfie camera, G88 processor plus game turbo, hard-wearing stirring glass, and a 256GB plus 16GB large memory on the new Techno Spark 10. You will enjoy better mobile experience with bigger camera, among other upgrades. That's not all. Visit any Techno outlet to get the beautiful on-demand smartphone for your selfies and walk away with a Techno X Fireboy headset, up to 5GB data from MTN, and many more gifts. Techno, stop at nothing.
My friend, you don't buy new mattress?
Yes, so they even dash me bag of rice join.
For real?
It is real. Buy any Mocha Flora or Mocha Wellbeing Regina mattress with 2 pillows and get a bag of rice free. Visit any accredited Mocha dealer nationwide to purchase. Offer valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Mocha, adding comfort to life.
I'm living the life because I get to Yes.
Hey, come where àlejò onígbòǹgbò ẹ kú àlejò ẹsẹ̀. Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé ẹ kú àmójúbà Tizeti Network Limited. Pẹ̀lú Tizeti, ìlò omi òjò lẹ́ẹ̀ máa lo ayélujára internet ní Yàwàlù. Torí pé gbajúgbajà nílé iṣẹ́ Tizeti Network Limited. Níbi ìpèsè ayélujára lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà fún ilé iṣẹ́ ńláńlá àti olókoòwò kéékèèké lábẹ́ àbúradà Tizeti. Ẹ lè browse, kẹ́ stream, kẹ́ sì tún gbá géèmù bó ṣe wù yín láì níkọ̀sẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìlànà ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́mùkú data kèé máa ṣeré ìwọ ni kò má sọ̀fànù 12,500 naira pé lẹ́ẹ̀fì jẹ mùlá data fódìdí oṣù kan gbáko lábẹ́ àbúradà Tizeti láì níkọ̀sẹ̀ ẹ kàn sí wifi.com.ng/oyo ẹ sì lè pe 0122987886 tàbí kẹ́ ẹ tẹ àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ sí internet@wifi.com.ng ayélujára ní Yàwàlù.
32 FM 94.9.
Alright, great to have you back. 32 FM 94.9, filling the world with laughter. To break it down in paper review, I'm Kenny Durutilu.
And I am Adenike Ademuwagun. It's great to have you join us, Professor Olu Ojedokun. Good morning.
Of course, it's a top of the day to you and a pleasure to be here.
Alright, let's start off with this one from I believe it's the Nation newspaper now. President Buhari yesterday launched the Nigeria Agenda 2050, declaring that the implementation of that agenda would ensure that Nigeria attains per capita GDP of $33,320 per annum. Okay, the considerations as regards this one for a lot of people is, again, in the twilight of his administration, is about living and all of that. Before, we've had other agendas like this, if you'd like, Vision 2020 and all of that, and that hasn't exactly yielded much results for Nigerians.
Well, some would disagree that it hasn't yielded much results. But what is clear is that there's no visible, tangible things that people can lay their hands on. So they're talking about GDP. What does GDP actually mean to you? What does it mean to me? I think what it should mean is that inflation is lower. It should mean that job opportunities are in abundance. It should mean that education, is accessible. Right. And I think it should mean, that power generation and inflation are under control, are being tamed. I think that's what the Nigerian mass or Nigerian masses want. Any big grammar, you understand, is not. They probably are not going to engage with it. They're going to engage with meaningful, practical steps to make their life just a little bit better, And I think when people look at 8 years and you ask them the question, right, are you better off than you were in 2015? There are very few Nigerians who will say that they're better off. Of course, if you've been involved in arbitrage, if you've been involved in subsidy fraud, if you've been involved in, round tripping, of course your life might be a bit better. But the vast majority of Nigerians will no doubtedly say that their lives are worse than it was before. And I think that's the measure that people use rather than all these big things like Vision 20-something and so on and so forth.
Long-term planning as against short-term planning. I think, going by the past, like you've just said now, don't you think that, more short-term sort of plans might be the way to go for us?
Well, there's nothing wrong with long-term planning, because before the administration of Babangida, we used to have development plans, 5, 10, 15-year development plans. And when we followed those development plans, they yielded fruit. They brought about meaningful change because you had the plan and you followed it and you are faithful to it, you are fidel to it. But when Babangida came in, he abandoned it, and the abandonment of our long-term plans started then. And then we started plucking out figures from anywhere and start saying in 30 years' time, in 20 years' time, we'll achieve things. You see, time itself is not a precursor to achievement. You understand? You must do something actively with the time that you have. But I get what you say. If you have bite-sized things that people can relate to, evaluate, and get feedback on, we might be more successful, than all these long-term grand plans that nobody has any real connection with.
All right, still on this issue, actually, still on a vision or whatever it is, Senate has given nod to Buhari's 22.7 trillion naira extra budgetary spending request. And of course, this is going to be fueled or borrowed through the central bank ways and means advances. What is going on, Prof? It's just 25 days to hand over power. Should the outgoing administration be incurring this amount of debt? Because now it's going to raise our debt profile to about 69 trillion naira, according to the Punch newspaper. What is happening?
Well, first and foremost, let's be clear. They say 69, some say 77. The reality is that about 23 trillion was borrowed, you understand, illegally. That's the word, illegally, through printing, ways and means, by the central bank. And what has just happened is that they've now legitimized what was illegitimate in the past. So, for instance, they brought it through ways and means. It should have been looked at in December, but the committee, you understand, wasn't able to submit their report by December, and they just submitted it now. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to cover their backs and to now legitimize and legalize the printing of money on a grand scale, which has gone on. Of course, it's still illegal because there's a certain amount that CBN should be able to print every year. And they've gone way over and above that. And it tells you that the central bank, even though it's independent in the law, has not really acted independently and has conflated itself as being part of the government. So what is going on is that we have a government, you understand, that is living far, 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 far way above its means.
Taking out the story, the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress failed to take a decision on the zoning of the Senate presidency and speakership of the 10th National Assembly yesterday during the meeting. The 4-hour meeting actually was presided over by Adamu, with no fewer than 18 of the 24 members of the NWC in attendance. Of course, very critical decisions to be made by the APC at this time, Prof.
Yes, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get some zoning in place. You see, the problem is when you violate some principles, then everything, follows in tow. If you tell one lie, you'll need many more lies to cover it all. The problem is that people had expected, or many people in the country had expected, that the presidency would have been zoned in terms of religion and in terms of where origin to the southeast, and maybe possibly to the Christian stuff. And once you upset that and you have Muslim at the head of the ticket, then balancing the rest is going to be an Herculean task, and that's what they're facing. So do we go for another Muslim president of the Senate, or do we go for a Christian? Do we go for Southeast? So that's the problem they're facing. So it's becoming more difficult, and that's why they've not been able to arrive at a decision. You can't obviously, even though you have ranking members that come from the Southwest or even come from the North, you have to ask the question, what of the Southeast? What of the South-South? So I think those are the questions that they're grappling with. My own argument at the end of the day is that we should reach a stage in this country where it shouldn't matter where you come from. What should matter is your competence, whether you can do the job and whether you can do it well. And secondly, it should be a matter for the National Assembly. It should be a matter for the Senate and the House of Reps, who they choose as their leader. It shouldn't be a matter for any working committee or the executive. And that's part of the problem. Let the ranking members, let the Senate choose whoever they feel is competent. And if it happens to be another Yoruba man, so be it. If it happens to be another Northerner, so be it. You understand? That's the deck. That's the card we've laid on the deck.
All right, Professor Wike is in the news again. Apparently, there was a conversation between himself and Tinubu yesterday. There was, according to this report, Tinubu rejects Wike's request on project reimbursement. Now, Governor Wike is saying that there were certain federal projects that they had to source for funds, and they had to source for funds to complete some flyovers in the state, and he was asking for a refund of some of these monies for these federal projects. What do you think Wike's goalpost was here? Was he trying to tell the president-elect, when you get sworn in, you owe me, you owe my state? But the man is not even in power yet. So was it out of place that brought this up?
First and foremost, I just see it as banter. Not really a conversation of any sort. Secondly, I don't think Wike is being that serious. If he's being serious, then those kind of requests are not going to be made, you understand, in the public arena when they are launching, or what do they call it, when you are flagging off, or when you are inaugurating, if we may use that expression. So as far as I'm concerned, I think Wike is playing to the gallery, and I think the president-elect have replied him accordingly and appropriately. He may well think that because he's helped Tinubu in some sort of way, I don't know whether he helped him legitimately or illegitimately, but whichever way he helped Tinubu, he might feel that Tinubu owes him something. But Tinubu is made of sterner stuff. Tinubu doesn't take prisoners, and I'm sure he's going to be shocked. In any case, remember that Wike leaves office at the end of the month. So whatever request he's making, you understand, he's not going to be able to follow it through anyway. The only person who will be able to follow it through will be the person who will be inaugurated as the governor of Rivers State on the 29th of May, 2023.
All right, talking politics still, that's some news coming out of the Labour Party. We understand that there were 2 National Working Committee meetings yesterday in Abuja. Now, this brings up the question of another crisis within the LP. Is the Labour Party self-imploding? And what does the future hold for the Labour Party, in the years to come?
Well, it's rather unfortunate because the Labour Party has become a vehicle for the young people, a vehicle for the aspirations of Peter Obi. And Labour Party has come from almost nothing in 6 or 7 months to become the major party, or the third major party in the country. Some people are even saying that let's wait for the tribunal. And we may even see the tribunal saying certain things we don't know. You understand? That might be living in some fool's paradise. But that's what people say. It's self-imploding because I feel that Labour Party has always been, you understand, a vehicle for various people to come in. But it's also been infiltrated. Some would suggest that it's infiltrated because how do you explain this sudden crisis? What are they exactly fighting for? What spoils are they going for? They won one governorship. Possibly they may win another if the tribunal rules in their favor. Right. They have a number of senators, a number of House of Reps. What exactly do they want? And some people have suggested that the Apampa, is it Apampa also?
Yeah, Apapa and Abure.
Yes, that Apampa is a plant, and that he is actually really from another political party, and that he's been sent there to destabilize the party. Some people have suggested that the barrister Abure also has not been very strong enough in handling the party. And some have suggested that Peter Obi has kept a dignified silence, a distance from what is going on. I think they will sort themselves out. I think it's a matter of the courts. It is the courts that allowed Apampa to come to the fore. You understand? There was a court decision. That court decision was at a lower court. It's not gone to the highest court. It's not gone to the highest court in the land. And I think as soon as that happens, clarity will be brought to the situation. So I think it's momentary madness that's going on at the moment.
Things will sort themselves out.
Yes, I believe so.
All right. Dogowa says, why I'm running for speaker despite my ongoing murder trial. Now, Mr. Dogowa and others were recently arrested and charged to court by the police in Kano for alleged criminal conspiracy and culpable homicide. Now, he's stating that he's covered by the principle of presumption of innocence, and so he can officially declare his intent to join the speakership race or be a part of this. It seems like absolutely anything is possible in this country, because taking a look at this, presumption of innocence or not, is this supposed to happen?
Yeah, let's be fair to Nigeria. After all, Trump is facing so many trials in the United States. He's even been indicted, and yet he's still going for the presidency of the United States. So I believe the United States is showing us the way, but it is not the right way. I think if you have issues, charges that are over you, I think you should clear the hair. You should take a reserved seat and sort yourselves out. Because what's going to happen is that if he becomes speaker, he's going to spend most of his time fending off legal challenges and trying to prove his guilt. He will not have his eye on the ball. I don't think Nigeria needs a part-time speaker. We need a full-time speaker, somebody that can face the issues at hand without being dragged around by the judicial system or by the legal system.
All right, a bit of some good news here. Sudan, 2 aircraft flight back 376 Nigerians. That's the headline out of the nation.
Yes, good news for those that have been rescued, of course. Remember that there's supposed to be 5,000, over 5,000. So I believe it's a step in the right direction. My heart goes out to them, but particularly those that are still stuck in Sudan. It's getting more vicious there. But we must give kudos to the government. There have been a lot of hiccups, but hiccups or no hiccups, we must still salute the Nigerian government for what they've done so far and to encourage them to do better.
All right, another report here from the nation says 40% of savings in Nigerian banks now in US dollars. That's from the IMF. That's the particular report. 40% of deposits in local banks. Are you surprised by that number, Prof?
I'm not surprised, because I wouldn't put my savings in Naira. I wouldn't. Why? Because of the high inflation rate. Because, of course, the lack of consistency or the lack of stability in the exchange rate. And so what people do, their long-term investments or long-term savings, they put it in another currency so that at least it holds its value and does not diminish. Can you imagine having millions and millions in Naira, and then, of course, the next month, because of inflation, what you can buy with that is less than what you could buy in the last 2 or 3 months. So that's the problem. Inflation is the problem. And that's why it must be a priority for the next government. And indeed, whoever becomes the governor of Central Bank, it must be a priority to look at the inflation rate and to use all the levers, economic levers, to ensure that our inflation rate comes down. Having 22.9%, you understand, does not encourage people to hold savings, certainly not in Naira.
All right, let's talk about the Senate investigating delay in issuance of international passports. The Senate Committee on Interior is to urgently investigate the delay in the issuance and renewal of international passports by the Nigerian Immigration Service. Now, according to this, she says that the delay is in contradiction to the 6 weeks period. Some people, of course, spend months before they get their passport. This has been happening a long time. When are we going to have seamless passport process in Nigeria, and what has to be put in place for this to be achieved?
Well, sometimes some people say supply and demand, but I think it's much more than that. I think there's corruption involved. I also think that we haven't got it right in terms of the pricing. What we have in the United Kingdom, for instance, if you want your passport the next day, you get it, but you pay through your nose. And I think that's the kind of system we need to have. We need to have those who are the regular people who need their passport in about a year's time, and we need to have the facility for those who need it now. And those who need it now, of course, have to pay through, officially, not to touts and not to government officials, but to the government coffers. And those that can wait, you understand, then will indicate, and they'll get their passport later. But when you lump everything together, both the urgent, the routine, and the not so immediate, then we have this kind of problem. The other thing also, of course, is that I'm not sure that the passport agency has been able to estimate what the demand is going to be like. You have to be able to estimate. You have to be able to have a foresight of how many people came this year and how many people are going to come next year. The population of Nigeria is growing. There are many more people. Things like the NIN should be able to give you some indication of the amount of people that are going to apply for passport next year. Of course, not everybody is going to apply, but you can get a fair figure, a fair estimate of those that are likely to apply. So there must be some projection protection. And the people running these agencies have to, plan ahead. And I think the lack of planning is also a factor that needs to be considered.
All right, we'll take some commercials. When we come back, we'll be opening the phone lines. Stay with us.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
You're about to close the deal of a lifetime, and suddenly your phone goes off because your battery is low. There's a hot gist in town, and just when you're about to hear it, your smartphone disappoints you. Oh, not again. Even worse, you're about to get that yes, but they can't reach you. No smartphone guarantees you your dream like the INT'L P40. With just one charge of its mega 6000 mAh battery, power is yours for 3 days. Also get 5GB from Airtel for just 1000 naira when you buy INT'L P40 and activate it with an Airtel 4G SIM card. SMS GET to 141 to get this offer. INT'L P40, one charge for 3 days.
Ìfẹ́ tí kò lábàwọ́n ni ìfẹ́ ìyá jẹ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí ohun tó dùn tó bíi Indomie alájẹpọnu lákọlọ. Nítorí náà, fi ìfẹ́ hàn pẹ̀lú Indomie.
ọ̀rẹ́ mi ṣé o ti ra tìmùtìmù títún.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n tún fún mi lápò ìrẹsì pàápàá.
ṣé lóòótọ́.
òótọ́ ni. òótọ́ ni ra èyíkéyìí tìmùtìmù múkà ìbáàjẹ́ flora tàbí well-being pẹ̀lú ìrọ̀rí méjì kó o sì gba àpò ìrẹsì kan lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. yọjú sí èyíkéyìí ojúlówó alágbàtà múkà jákèjádò nàìjíríà láti rà á. àǹfààní yìí wà títí ọjà yóò fi tán ni. ó ní ìlànà àti òfin o. múkà àfikún sí ìgbé ayé ìrọ̀rùn.
Techno celebrates your natural healthy glow without hiding your imperfections with a 32MP glowing selfie camera, G88 processor plus game turbo, hard-wearing stirring glass, and a 256GB plus 16GB large memory on the new Techno Spark 10. You will enjoy better mobile experience with bigger camera, among other upgrades. That's not all. Visit any Techno outlet to get the beautiful on-demand smartphone for your selfies and walk away with a Techno X Fireboy headset, up to 5GB data from MTN, and many more gifts. Techno, stop at nothing.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back to the Break of Dawn Papers Review on your laughter station, 32 FM 94.9. The phone lines are open, 0705 5000 949 and 0809 7949 to share your thoughts on any of the issues this morning. We're also live on Facebook and YouTube. It's 32 FM 949 Ibadan. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Comrade John Felix.
All right.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with the Prof. In 2015, at least the Nigerians know where they are. They are weak. But now, in fact, they are nowhere to be found. Now, those that are doing with electricity, that their job are those maybe weather and other things. As of today, most of them have turned to Okada rider because they cannot be able to cater for their family anymore. So, because of the way this present administration drive us into. So, I pray that the incoming one should be very, very careful. Because those people that fail this present one are still there to fail the coming one. So, they are carrying themselves along here and there, here and there. Now, the fireman is now looking for ministerially. Most of them are still looking for ministerially. I pray that God will deliver us in this nation. Amen.
All right, thank you. 0705 5000 949 0809 7000 949. You can also drop comments on Facebook. We're live on Facebook, 32FM 949. Hello, good morning.
Kenny, morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Prof, good morning. This is okay. Prof, like you rightly said, the whalers we have increased. We are far outweigh the whalers now. In fact, probably it was like 5 of us that were whalers there. I can convince confidently tell you that we may probably have about 90% whalers in Nigeria now, because that was what they called us then. Now, what has really changed? Are we better or have we deteriorated? One, as individuals and as a nation. These are things let's look at the incoming president, see what he will do. I don't see him as Messiah, neither do I see anyone, at least with what has been wrecked now. But I think we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. Good morning.
All right. 0705 5949 and 0829 7949. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Adenike from UI. I want to comment on the Labour Party and Apapa matter. The issue is that, like I've always been saying, based on the relationship between UK and our governor here in Oyo State, it is the activities that made Peter Obi to leave PDP for them. But now that they are trying, they are romancing with APC and Tinubu, it is better for them to excuse us and join APC, so that Peter Obi can leave Labour Party for Apapa, and Nigeria will have a better opposition ahead of 2027. I think that will be the bottom line for Wiki and Makinde to return to APC, and why Obi and Kwakwa return to PDP, and Apapa return to his Labour Party, so that there will be good opposition. That's our debate of today.
All right. Thank you very much. We have some comments on Facebook. Balkis Onojiro says, good morning. Every time I think about Emefiele and Buhari's poorly thought out Naira design, how it drove Nigeria into hardship and depression, I become enraged. In what ways, if any, has this approach improved the Nigerian economy or decreased inflation? Consider a time when the borders were also closed and nothing significant resulted from the closure of the borders. The Buhari's administration economic policies haven't given the poor Nigerians any reason to feel hopeful.
All right, to try and call back, 0705 5949. Also on Facebook, Suleiman Sharif writes, 26 days to go, Buhari administration still borrowing and public debts raised to 69 trillion naira. I hope the president-elect and his team will voice out. Maybe because the outgoing president and president-elect are from the same party, that is why they haven't voiced out. We don't want to hear any blame game after May 29, 2023 anymore. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. We can hear you. Go ahead.
My name is Ayo from Ibadan here.
All right.
The issue of labor, I would not agree that Apapa was planted in that party. Apapa has been labor even before we joined politics. We need to talk about the criminal offense that is hanging around Aburi. That is why the court removed him to step aside. So Peter Obi was standing behind him because Peter Obi he don't want to do anything with Yoruba person. That is why this thing is going on like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Back to Facebook now. Raji Abiola says, good morning, Kenny and Adenike. About holding parallel National Working Committee meeting. Okay, try to find out one. Okay, we'll take another call in the meantime. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Johnny Joko.
Please turn down the volume on your radio.
I think it's okay like this.
That's all right. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Johnny Joko. I'm calling from you this morning. I want to talk law, not politics, this morning concerning the GUA. He is correct to keep any elected position in the House of Representatives. The criminal allegation hanging off his neck notwithstanding is being innocent until the contrary is proved. Same thing goes to Senator Odus Okalo. As the Supreme Court nullifies Section 396, Professor, you are aware, subsection 7 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2016, which empowered the then president of the Court of Appeal, retired Justice Zainab Bashiwari, to authorize the proceedings to return to the Federal High Court to conclude the case for which the Supreme Court considered unconstitutional. The Odus Okalo case is still in the court now. Is equally deemed innocent until the contrary is proved. I remember that the Senator Yodo Missouri was here at Adenike prison yard, contested the election and the one as the Senator, and heaven didn't fall. He equally participated in the House of Senate throughout that time. He is deemed innocent until the contrary is proved. I'm John News on Joko. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, back to that message on Facebook. Raja Fizabela writes about holding parallel national working committee meeting by Labour Party. This is suggesting how soon the party will existing. I'm not sure. The crisis like this is soon. Okay, the crisis like this is too early and not good for the party like LP. They need to be united at this time than how they are in the past, most especially for their election tribunal's sake. If the crisis doesn't resolve in time, that will cause the end of LP. All right.
Hello, good morning. Okay, 0705 5949 and 0829 7949. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Alaba from Elele. The outgoing dispensation to speak, please spare us. Anything economic plan. Even for the next month, not to talk about 2050. The ones they have been, the years they spent, they've not managed it. The little ones that left, they have not managed it. They are thinking about 2050. They should let the those in power during the duration manage their economy themselves. And concerning Wike, to me, Wike is just trying to maneuver his way into the heart of Tinubu. And I appreciate he never knew he will find his match in Tinubu. I'm very sure. You can see from the response of Tinubu, all he needs, they will compensate him, but not telling them they should return any money during their DC. And this shows those that are thinking Wike is fighting for equality and everything. He is fighting for himself. He has lost the presidency, he has lost everything. He's not going to send it. He needs something. And I know it's the minister he will not even get. How can I say?
All right, 0705 5949 and 0829 7949 to react to any of the stories this morning. We still have some more comments on our Facebook page.
Okay, we'll take another call first. Hello? Hello, good morning. Okay, lost that one. Do try and call back. 0705 5949 0809 7949. Those are the numbers to be part of the conversation. Before we go, Prof, talking about the situation with the Labour Party. Hold that thought. Let's take
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
All right, talk about the situation with the Labour Party and some of the comments that we had on that one.
Yeah, no, it's true to say that Akpankpa has been a state official in the Labour Party, even vice chairman at some point. But the script that he's acting to has not been the script of the Labour Party. In fact, there was a time when it was speculated they wanted to withdraw the petition from the presidential, from the election petitions tribunal. That has been denied. But the way it's playing out, the Labour Party is not going to come out of this stronger. It's going to be weaker. And you have to ask the question, whose script is it playing to? Is it playing to the script of the so-called obedience, or is it playing to the script of the APC? And that's why some of us say and suggest that it's a plant.
All right. We'll take a final call. Hello? Okay.
There isn't much that we can take on the show. Thank you so much for doing this with us, Professor Lord Jedokun. And I am Adenike Ademuwagun.
I am Kenny Durutilu. Good morning. The Smart Kid Show is up next.